It's the same thing over here. This whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap mentality only works if you are equipped with the right mindset and the right programming. Yes, it is true that you can literally start at the very bottom with nothing and die a millionaire or a billionaire. But in order to make the right decisions, you have to think in a certain kind of way. And that's not something that happens accidentally. You have to be programmed. If you switch bloodlines, that more than likely would have been you. Zias explains why Nigerians hate Black Americans. Whoa. All right, now this video is by Next Gen TV, but it's of course a clip of Zias speaking from his stream with Blou. Zias is of course Nigerian. Let's go.
Negative perceptions about each other. They hate each other. Nigerians are naturally elitist. You know, it's a narrative that like Africans look down on or dislike Black Americans.
Yeah, I heard about that before.
Right, and you probably experienced it, have you?
Not only
from like the parents.
Yeah, and you know this also is the case for Caribbeans, right? You do see this with Caribbean people as well. It's not just Africans.
Parents of who?
Just African. Say you got an African friend, like they parents or something.
No, not really. I really, bro. I got niggas. Real shit, bro. Like not Africans, bro. You the only African homie that I got. Shit, I think.
It's true. Y'all didn't want to get on the Discord and tell me how is it true.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Not you, but just I want to know the chat.
I think because I mean, you can say if they come in, they can come in. I was just saying like the only time I had a problem was with a Dominican. I thought because Dominicans we look the same, bro. But like I went to a club in New York and Dominicans. Some niggas is cool though, but I like that. But
what is Dominicans? That they were like Poppy?
Yeah, them niggas.
Hold on, Poppy. Hold on.
Yeah,
how you doing, Poppy? Yeah.
See, I met some cool Dominicans, but you know
and
how
they be dancing and shit. Poppy, like yeah, be funny. Like Dominicans is different, bro.
See, but I think what happened was I had to meet. I met some cool Dominicans, but I had met through another Dominican homie. But when I didn't meet some Dominicans without the Dominican homie, it was a whole different vibe. So then I was starting to hear about like nigga Dominicans. See, I'm from here, bro. I don't know no difference between no Dominicans and blacks and all the extra shit. Like I'm just thinking
fan of Dominican?
Yeah, fan of Dominican.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in a like section. I'm in Dykeman, I think it's called. And I go to a club out there, and a security guard on some bullshit, bro. And I'm like, what's wrong with this? You know what I'm saying? But come to find out, they said that the blacks and the Dominicans don't fuck with each other in New York. It's what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or what. You know, maybe in that area they done had some problems or something like that. But I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I was pissed off at that nigga. I'm like, this nigga acting like a hoe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something you do see, but there is a difference, I think, between the what would I even call it, and not necessarily animosity, but the beef that Dominicans and Puerto Ricans have against Black Americans is different than what you see from the Africans and other people from the Caribbean. For them, it's because they identify more with their European heritage, even though some of them really do look no different. They're as black as American blacks, other Caribbean blacks, Africans. They just have the Spanish culture, but a lot of them, you can definitely see that they have a lot more European DNA in their blood, and they do believe that makes them superior. It's white supremacy. And so that's a little bit different than when you might hear another Black immigrant kind of talk down on Black American culture, and so thus by extension Black Americans.
But back on the African shit,
Yeah.
They said that niggas was cause like what is it? We spoiled or something like that, or they don't really claim us because, you know what I'm saying, niggas was over here or some shit. But it's like, how's it our fault? Yeah, they got shipped over here, did they? Shit. And then wasn't niggas helping niggas get shipped over here? So I'm like, how the fuck they gonna get mad at us?
Yeah. I think so. A lot of this shit is deeply rooted. Okay, let's like, have you heard of the saying, like, you put a red ants next to black ants,
And they really smooth.
and they cool, right, in the bottle. When you shake that motherfucker up, the red ants think the black ants is enemies, and vice versa, and they attacking each other.
I ain't
Nobody
even know
focused on who shook that motherfucker.
I ain't never heard that. That's a thing? That's crazy. What a metaphor.
So let's start from the root
The rule of all
of
evil.
why a lot of
Hey, shout out to John with the gifted, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate
the
you.
issues we have even became the beat in the first place. Okay, so let's address that. No, we don't gotta address it, but let's just keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah. Keep it in mind.
So with that being said, I can only speak on Nigeria. I can't speak on any other country in Africa.
your
Okay.
experience. Yeah.
But in Nigeria, okay, the different tribes don't even like each other.
I thought
Okay.
that was always crazy. I'm like, bro, how the fuck are y'all like?
Niggas and tribes in Nigeria have derogatory terms for each other.
Wow.
They have negative perceptions about each other. They hate each other. Nigerians are naturally elitist and classist. You feel what I'm saying?
No, what does that mean?
Classist. I mean, it doesn't matter, but just keep that in mind, okay?
Yeah. You funny because you said it don't matter, but you said keep it in mind.
I'm saying, like, I don't have to deep dive into it, but you kind of have a grasp of what I'm.
Blou might actually. I thought this shit was an act. This nigga is like classes. What is that? He either super committed to the act or it's like, damn, bro, maybe it isn't that hard to graduate in college with a bachelor's.
Getting that.
This nigga don't know what it means to be classist? That's insane.
Okay. A lot of times what happened is, and I'm gonna explain to y'all the root of all of this, okay? A lot of our parents, right? Older generation Africans, right? When they first came to America, they didn't come to America to the Beverly Hills or the rich part of the neighborhoods. They got placed in the impoverished areas, okay? Around other poor black Americans, right? Around where, you know, crime rate was high and, you know, just the degenerate part of, you know, society.
And that was purposely done.
Right? So
I'm asking. That was purposely done?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's like I'm saying.
No, it's what they could fucking afford. They came here and they didn't really have any money. And so they went and lived amongst the poor. And of course, if you're an African or a Caribbean person and you're coming to live amongst the poor, you might as well live amongst the poor people that look like you, right? Don't live with the poor Mexicans. Don't live with the poor whites. Live in a neighborhood where you're not also having to battle racial discrimination.
Most Nigerians didn't come here rich.
Oh, okay, that was your
They
point.
had to work their way up, okay?
Yeah.
So they grew up, you know, they came here and lived in like the poor areas, the hood, the projects, right?
Yeah.
So our parents, a lot of the older generation Africans, the only perception of black Americans that they saw was what was going on in those projects, the degenerate part.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times Nigerians bring that same classist, elitist attitude that they had in Nigeria
to America. Yeah.
And they treat black Americans, I'm talking about older generation Nigerians, they treated black Americans with that same attitude.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's already separate.
It's already separate.
Yeah.
So as a black American back in the day, and even probably sometimes even to this day, right? you looking at a fellow African like, oh, my brother, like from the motherland, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you thinking shit is cool.
You think it's sweet?
It's sweet. But a lot of times what happened was they had an automatic perception of Black Americans based on what they were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I think it starts there, okay?
Yeah.
And let me gather my thoughts.
So, okay, let me help Zias out here. What happens is you have poor but usually educated immigrants coming from Africa, coming from the Caribbean, because it's not easy to get a visa, yet alone a green card, to come to America from these countries. So the people who are usually getting access to those things, it's not the poor people in those countries. It's certainly not the people with no connections, no education. It's people who have, in their country, they are making what is the equivalent of $20,000, $30,000 a year, but they are the upper working class in their country. They're teachers, they're doctors, they are functioning members of their society, and usually educated. At the very least, they completed high school, but many of them have some amount of college education or higher level of learning. They come to America. They come with a plan. They come with a little bit of money saved up. They come with this drive, I am going to make something out of this life. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to go to university. I'm going to put my children through college, all of that. And then they look around, like what Zias is saying, though, but because they come here and they're not usually wealthy or have a lot of money when they come here, they do end up living in lower income areas. But they're surrounded by Black people who are the descendants of Jim Crow and the crack epidemic and all kinds of just fucking bullshit that has been the Black American experience in this country. And so these people are working with a completely different foundation. And instead of empathizing with that reality that these poorer Black Americans who are the descendants of all these various kinds of oppression that came at the hands of white supremacy, they look down upon them. They say, well, if I was able to come to this country poor and with nothing, and then become a doctor, a lawyer, put myself through university while working a job and raising children, what's your excuse? You just sit on the corner and shoot dice all day. And then it becomes worse because then they feel this desire, this need. It's a pressure that's created by white supremacy to separate themselves in the eyes of the white people from these Black Americans. And so then they engage in the racism, the anti-Black rhetoric, the anti-Black American talk. They rather their children they want their children to either marry someone from their country, right? Or a white person. Or, but they don't want their children to marry a Black American. Unless that Black American, of course, comes from, a highly educated background or something like that. And and so that's where a lot of this comes from. But it's short-sightedness and ignorance. They come here and they say, well, there is no Jim Crow here. There are no laws here preventing me from going to college and starting a business and all of that. So what's stopping you? And so that superiority complex comes into play as well.
Africans don't hate Black Americans. I'm talking about our older generation Africans, our parents. It's not that they hated Black Americans. They hated the quote unquote degenerate part of what they saw, where they was living around Black Americans, if that makes sense. Because it's like,
And so basically, the word of mouth spread all kind of like back, like, oh, girl, you see these niggas over here? Like that type of shit. Yeah, and so they kind of got a bad stigma from the jump.
Jump.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like me as a kid, when I was, and a lot of y'all, if you a second gen Nigerian that was born and raised in America, you probably experienced this where like your parents prejudge your friends because of the negative perception they had already had about Black Americans. You feel me? They had like derogatory terms for degenerate Black Americans, right?
Yeah.
But again, that comes from the classist attitude, the elitist attitude, and it's no different than like how it's some bougie black Americans, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That look down on
For
from
sure.
the hood, like
we don't. That's ghetto.
it's too ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Or
right.
like they wouldn't stay. Same type of class.
Yeah, boule niggas, right? These are Black Americans. These are FBAs, but they have a high amount of European ancestry. They're usually light skinned, and what I'm saying, a lot of times their family are Freemasons. Their family is in various secret society lodges and things of that nature. And they also, because they're coming from a history of people that desperately tried to assimilate with white America, and that bred this resentment and disdain for poorer, less educated Black people, who usually it's just because they don't have ancestry. They don't have as much European ancestry. Why that's the only difference. Why your lot in life turned out differently than theirs.
You feel what I'm talking
But
about?
that's why. Okay, so I see where you.
It's not like Africans hate Black Americans. No, that's a misconception.
Yeah.
Older generations had that disdain based on their perception of what they saw where they lived and where they grew up.
Yeah.
About the degenerate side of Black Americans. Now, mind you, every race has a degenerate side.
Yeah.
So it's not just exclusive to Black Americans.
Yeah.
Black Americans just get unfairly.
And that's the craziest part about it, is that all these people, whether they're immigrants from Africa or the Caribbean or whatever the case may be, they quickly forget the condition of the people in their home country. All of these people that, you know what I'm saying, you see that you look down upon, you can find literally the exact same kind of person in your home country. And so you ask yourself, well, what's the difference between you and them? You understand that you just have opportunities that they didn't. Well, it's the same thing over here. It's the same thing over here. This whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap mentality only works if you are equipped with the right mindset and the right programming. Yes, it is true that you can literally start at the very bottom with nothing and die a millionaire or a billionaire. But in order to make the right decisions, you have to think in a certain kind of way. And that's not something that happens accidentally. You have to be programmed. And that programming usually comes from your parents. So what do you do when your parents were raised by, people that were the product of the crack epidemic? What do you expect? You know what I'm saying? They're just not going to have the exact same programming.
Judge for it. But that's my take on it.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of that is like back in the day. I feel like, because us, like the Nigerians that grew up here in Black American culture, nigga, we don't hate Black Americans. Nigga, we damn near want to be Black American. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we influenced by Black American culture. So it's like, and honestly, Black American culture is the most influential culture across the globe.
Yeah.
Nah, for sure. For right
All
now.
the
That's a
every
fact.
black people in all of the diaspora, they look to black American culture to determine what's cool. You know,
That is true.
what's tight, what's you know what I'm talking about? So
That's true.
Said this wrestler.
diaspora, yeah. So
What did Blue just say? Nah, man, this dude, he needs someone needs to get this brother a thesaurus.
you know, it's a movement. It's a movement. You know, it's like it's a group. I would say ideology, a group, a movement. You know, particularly on Twitter.
This is why black people, especially black immigrants or descendants of immigrants in America, this is why I say it is cooning if you speak negatively about anybody in the black American community. You're cooning. Why? Because it is literally no different than you talking shit about your family member that has been sexually, physically, and spiritually abused since they were a child. You got to look at it like that. Because most of us have family members like that, and we wouldn't be throwing them under the bus. We understand that shit, man. This person, they grew up and they just grew up in a horrible condition. And what is the abusive, perverted parent in this situation? White supremacy. These people who are descendants of people who are just subjected to the worst kind of oppression and you know, just abuse, and they had offspring. See, you can find exceptions to the rule, sure, but your parents more or less determine who you will be as an adult. Essentially, you just got to see yourself as one of the lucky ones. You were born to good parents. You were born in a better situation financially. Even if you were born in the same zip code, you were born to a household with different values. And you just don't know. You don't know what that person's history is. You don't know what that person's ancestry is. What kind of abuse was suffered by their forefathers that created a domino effect that led to this person being in that situation that they're in. That's not to say that they don't get held accountable if they do something bad, right? Like if they break the law. No one's saying that you should let them go free, but you don't engage in, you know what I'm saying, talking down on these people, because that could have been you. If you switch bloodlines, that more than likely would have been you. You're no better. And really, it just comes down to that. Once you realize that, you see how foul it is to speak ill of any subset of the black community, especially in America, especially because unlike other parts of the world, America's history of white supremacy is incredibly unique. You know, it lasted for a very long time, only ended very recently. And by ended, I mean from a legal point of view. So that's why it's cooning. Engaging in talking about black fatigue and these people, that and those people. It's like, bro, that would have been you. If you were born in the same situation, that would have been you. And all it would have taken was a few boats getting rerouted. Exactly. So don't help the white supremacists by talking down upon them and shitting on them and all that, because this is a mess that their ancestors created that they want no part in fixing or remedying. And fine, okay, but you know what I'm saying? Don't cry about it then. You know, it is going to get better. Natural selection. survival of the fittest. It is going to get better, but it's going to take a long time, and it's going to happen very slowly and very gradually if you allow it to happen naturally. If you wanted to get better quickly, you would intervene and do something about it. You don't want to do that? All right, shut the fuck up then. But of course, they're not going to shut the fuck up because racism. So you don't help them. You know what I'm saying? You don't help them.